Recently, DogPack404 has released his second MrBeast video, detailing his arguments on why he believes that MrBeast is a sociopath and interviewing a former employee called Jake Weddle. This is not my first video about the DogPack404 MrBeast videos. I made a previous one, which got somewhat of a mixed reception, which was sometimes frustrating, right? Until I realized that 90% of the commenters clearly did not watch more than 2 minutes of the video because I pretty much addressed most of the points. But I wanted to make clear what my original argument was because I feel like I didn't make it clear enough in the video. In this expose, DogPack is attempting to set off the narrative that MrBeast is pretty much a sociopath scammer, as you can pretty easily tell through the way he markets his videos.
Now, MrBeast intentionally manipulates these children's vulnerable minds for profit using 3 simple steps.
In my debunk, I focused on the second part of that argument and concluded pretty safely that it doesn't make sense for MrBeast to carry out scams like this if he had ill intent. You can watch it for yourself. However, I didn't say that there aren't any issues with the MrBeast company, and I even left room for there to be potentially malicious figures in his circles. In his videos, DogPack just fails to establish the fact that Jamie Donaldson is a malignant figure, which I believe is a crucial part of the narrative he's trying to create. I wouldn't have taken issue if he had made a video about some of the issues tied to the MrBeast operation without immediately going in for a kill. His entire video is draped in over-dramatization.
MrBeast lies to build trust in his audience. I want to go on to explain how he exploits that trust for profit, selling fake signatures, giving children diabetes, and more.
And misinformation.
This guy's currently comparing the calorie counts and sugar content of 2 differently sized chocolate bars without adjusting for the size. If we did adjust them correctly, you would realize that, this is pretty comparable.
Which takes away from the serious points that are actually going on below the surface. Showing good faith is important, especially in situations with somebody's careers on the line. So in this video, DogPack404 tries to establish the narrative that MrBeast is a sociopath, which his definition for sociopath isn't great. He clarifies in the description that it's just his opinion based on the Cambridge Dictionary definition of sociopath about a person who's completely unable or unwilling to behave in a way that is acceptable to society. He's a sociopath in no way should be interpreted as a medical diagnosis or statement of fact. I think anybody who knows anything about the term sociopath and the implications it holds, yeah, that's not really what the word means. I think once you start bringing out like psych terms, they almost always have like a medical implication that this person is incurably evil, right? That's what he's pretty much saying here. Like, I get that this is probably like just to do the clickbait, but I just don't think that this is like an accurate definition of the word. Witness number 1 is a comedian and writer called Jake Weddle. In interview and video where he proceeded to talk about completely unrelated stuff.
I'm like a hetero, flexible, polyamorous, he-they-ish Brooklynite. If I had a kid, I would let them get a phone until they're like 16. And that's just me. Screenplay I'm working on about. It's kind of like The Office, but instead they work at a YouTube company. And the boss is like a Michael Scott type, but he's a, hey, can I get a rapper to DM me?
Started trauma dumping.
Everybody loved my dad. Everybody thought he was the coolest, nicest guy in the world, And people would say, I would talk about what my dad was like. They'd be like, what, that guy? No way, And it wasn't until, news broke that he did something bad to a kid.
And then complained in the follow-up that people started getting bored of his shenanigans.
A lot of people were saying about my video, oh my god, just get to the point. A lot of people, they go into the comments, and it's a really rude thing to do, I think, when someone's, pouring out their heart and soul. I want to do parody songs of all the Kendrick Drake diss raps.
And started quoting Kendrick, which is not cringe at all.
I'm with the culture feeling, and I'm going to hide the Bible in case the algorithm watches. Don't tell no lies.
No,
and I won't tell no truths.
No!
Which he does show off some of his writing skills in a video he made, which aren't very impressive. I was also honestly kind of confused what you even write in like MrBeast videos, because he just says stuff that's going on the screen usually, so, but whatever. I don't want to invalidate anybody's job here, just, that's the writing you're talking about? If you watch most of the Jake Weddle video, you will quickly realize that most of what he's saying pretty much boils down to that he agreed to do something for money that he didn't feel all too good about. But it doesn't mean that DogPack doesn't try his best to throw all sorts of crazy claims at MrBeast's way throughout the interview. Like, for example, before he even starts talking to Jake, he already makes like the entire MrBeast operation responsible for like the bad behavior of like one cameraman.
The camera guy who gave the girls a drone was making some girls feel uncomfortable. You trap these girls in a circle and make them sleep on rough turf and get them high on paint fumes, and then you try to f them.
Like, we're not even 10 minutes into the video, and DogPack is already extrapolating rumors into fully fleshed out allegations against a different guy. Not MrBeast, a cameraman. The video is not called MrBeast's cameraman is a sociopath.
The culture around there was very unspoken, but there was a vibe. There was half the people who, if you made Jimmy happy, you were on the good half. And these people got random bonuses and were usually moved up, had more screen time. And then there was people who, if you had a disagreement or butt heads with Jimmy or just you didn't like it, you were the other half. And I consistently was in the half that Jimmy doesn't like me. That's fine. I don't like him either. It's okay. Oh, it feels so good to say. I don't like Jimmy. I hate you so much.
Like, he says that, oh, Mr. Beast always hated me and he never wanted me in the videos. But yeah, it's a personality-based business. Obviously, if somebody dislikes your personality, they're not gonna put you in a YouTube video with them. Like, it just doesn't really make sense.
And that's one of the reasons why I left, was because I just walked in there and asked for maybe a salary that was more proportional to the work I was doing, given how much revenue that work was doing. This is what Writers Guild Industry Standard is for streaming internet content with ads. I hope it was the closest thing to YouTube. And I didn't even bring up residuals, because oh my god, if I got residuals for every video I worked on, boy howdy, I could retire. But there's another writer there, older comic, black guy, he had a kid. And I got paid more than him. I want you to get paid more, you know, because you deserve to get paid more. You know, I'm not a kid. And he didn't want to rock the boat. He desperately didn't want to rock the boat. He's just, I like my job. I like, you know, because when you grow up with, you know, nothing, not to say that he did, but I know I did, you know. You get a little something, you don't want to lose it, so you don't want to rock the boat. But he said, hey man, that's how you feel, you know, like if that's like, I trust you, you're in that meeting with me. And I said it my piece, and he backed me up. And I said, I need XYZ or I'm out of here. And they said, bet, and they gave me a severance check the next day. And they gave him a severance check the next day. If I knew he was going to lose his job too, I wouldn't have done it. Me, I was over the moon. I was like, you're gonna give me a check and I get to leave? And he was devastated. He did not want. I said, he just wanted to be in the room, you know? And I really regret that. Honestly, best thing I could have done for him. Now that he's very, very far removed from all this crazy shit, I guess.
He brings up this case where he wanted to ask for a high wage for the writing he was doing for Mr. Beast, and in return got like another guy to do it with him because he was being paid more than the other dude. And then the Mr. Beast team just said, oh well, if you want more money, we don't want to pay you that. So they just let them go, which is exactly how like negotiations work. Like, you need leverage. Like, I can't just go to my boss at McDonald's, go like, yeah, I want $1 trillion a year, and like get mad if they say, well, no, you can leave, like like the door's right there, okay? He's been speaking for like what, like 8 minutes, and he's already like breaking out into tears over something that was completely his responsibility. I obviously feel bad for him or whatever, but this is like not on Mr. Beast here, okay? I think before we get into the next point, like, I feel like we need to explain something. The Mr. Beast venture does not work because Mr. Beast is the guy who just happens to have trillions in his bank that he wants to give away. He's not Mr. Rockefeller. The Mr. Beast venture works because he manages to turn his, I guess, philanthropy or whatever into like entertaining videos that people watch and that generate money off of ad revenue that is technically derived from the entertainment value of the content, right?
Do you think Jimmy really enjoys doing good and helping people?
I think Jimmy wants to be the best YouTuber. I think he is laser focused on one goal. And I think whatever he has to do to achieve that goal, he'll do. And I think it was the smartest decision for him that he calculated, because he's very good with numbers. If I donate to charity, people can't say I'm shitty. If I give this homeless guy 10K, what do you mean I'm a bad guy? But I've always thought, if you're gonna do something nice for somebody, and you stick a camera in their face while you do it, that you didn't do a nice thing for somebody. You gained something. There was a homeless guy on the street, and you saw an opportunity for yourself and your image.
If Mr. Beast wasn't filming people he was giving money to, there would be no money to give away. It's just part of the entertainment. That's just how the business model works. You can take issue with that, but I honestly think that a lot more benefit is created through his donations than there is negativity created in the world just because people are being filmed. He then proceeds to go into the solitary confinement video, which was a video he was supposedly part of that never ended up releasing.
Oh, at first it's gonna be like a luxury vacation. You're gonna have like a hot tub and an ice cream machine, and like part of the video is gonna be you deciding like what items am I gonna get rid of, today, and it's like the choice. And by the end of it, after 30 days, you're gonna get $300,000 because it's $10,000 a day. I'll dance for you if you put that kind of money in my face, sure. They were like, you're gonna be locked in this room, and we gotta make sure you're on all the time. We're gonna have cameras on you all the time, and you're perfect for this because you never shut the fuck up. And they always cut me out of the videos. Editors have told me that it's because you have too much of a personality. This is perfect. It's a video they can't cut me out of. I'm the guy. Yeah, there was a hot tub in it. Yeah, there was an ice cream machine. Like, things were cool and funny on paper. But when you think about stuff, a hot tub that's not connected to a filtration system, give it 3 days, it's gonna stink. If there's not a hot water mechanism, so the hot tub was a lukewarm tub at best. The shower was always cold, cameras 24/7 on me, and the ice cream machine, let's talk about that for a second. The ice cream machine has 2 mugs, on, and off, reeking of smelly dairy mildew. They weren't turning the lights off. I asked them, I said, can we have nighttime hours? And they said no. because it would fuck up the time-lapse shot.
He complains about some of the conditions there. For example, that light was being left on, and DogPack obviously cannot physically stop himself from accusing Mr. Beast of committing a war crime.
We're not allowed to do that to terrorists. Oh good. 24 hours breaking the Geneva Convention, I guess, is what we're doing.
Which, you know, I'm sure this isn't like technically against the Geneva Convention on torture because he wasn't technically a prisoner. Like, he could have left at any time, but because of the extreme pressure to stay in, it's not really a reasonable expectation.
The sleep deprivation that's being referred to in the Geneva Convention is probably a different kind than like an annoying lamp. Also, he could have left at any time. Like, you are an adult. You get and have to make your own decisions. You accuse Mr. Beast's operation of making him develop insomnia because they wouldn't turn the light off.
I wasn't sleeping. I could not sleep, and I have insomnia problems now. But they might have started there. The first challenge I did was a Rubik's Cube, and I'm dyslexic. I'm dumb. I don't know how to do a Rubik's Cube. So your first challenge, Rubik's Cube. I was like, oh, I don't want to do it. I was like, on camera. I don't want to do it. You go, just do it for the thing. Like, kid, you know. Like there was an element of, oh, Jake will do what we want because he's in house. You know, that's one of the reasons why they got me. Jake's he's an inside guy, so he'll do whatever. We can push him a little extra hard because we know he's good. We know he's. I couldn't say no to the treadmill thing. Yeah. So I people who run marathons train forever and it's still hard. Again, Ryder. Do I look like I run? I don't run. You know, let alone a marathon. Yeah, I was able to take some breaks, and I asked him, how long do I have? He goes, until I get back.
But you, a grown man, agreed to it. Imagine a guy in Ninja Warrior like getting mad for falling. Like, yeah, it's part of the challenge that, you know, it's not gonna be easy, you know? Can you like say like, oh, this is a bit of like an extreme thing to do? Yeah. Do I know Jake Weddle well enough to trust him here blindly? No, and even if this was the case, he could have left. That's like the whole thing. I also want to say that, especially regarding the whole like Mr. Beast hate trend right now, like the issue is everybody coming forward, and I do want to warn you guys, there are a lot of grifters coming off the woodwork to make every bit of money they can, okay? I was on Twitter and some of them were even coming after me already, okay? People absolutely have an incentive to shit on Mr. Beast for money right now, and I want you guys to keep that in mind, okay? This is important to mention because we cannot really distinguish, you know, whether or not this is like a serious, earnest point, because the thing is, like, Jake Weddle, for example, DogPack, they've clearly been benefiting off of the situation. Whether or not they're actually making money isn't important, but Jake Weddle, for example, made sure to plug the hell out of his Patreon in his follow-up video. The issue is that, like, money and fame will taint your testimony, especially if, like, the entire public is pretty much calling for you to, like, speak up about this negatively.
You could have said no, you could have left at any time. I want to show this segment from an internal document at Mr. Beast called How to Succeed in Mr. Beast Production. Specifically on page 19, there's a paragraph called No Does Not Mean No. Already insane, because it seems to be co-opting the popular anti-rape slogan, which is a terrible look given the allegations that are going to be coming out very soon. It reads, when dealing with people outside Mr. Beast Productions, never take no at face value. If we need a store to buy everything inside of, and you can call the local Dollar Tree, and the person that answers says, no, you can't film here, that literally doesn't mean shit. Talk to other employees and see if they are fans, or if any have kids that are fans. Try talking to their boss's boss. Have me DM them on Twitter and try their social team. If all avenues are exhausted and you are left with a no, that doesn't mean don't try the other Dollar Trees, because the manager of those could be huge fans and willing to bend the rules. Basically what I'm trying to convey is what we call pushing through no. Don't stop because one person told you no. Stop when all conceivable options are exhausted. This is one of many tools that when combined dramatically improve your probability of success when producing here.
It looks really bad, and I know why DogPack frames that way, because he's trying to throw a bunch of like questionable language his way that'll like imply that Mr. Beast doesn't care about consent or whatever, which I think is pretty fucking bad. And I do agree that this sounds funny, but this is very normal for like sales tactics type stuff. And then the video goes to the actual important stuff. Mr. Beast apparently hired a guy called Delaware, who apparently did something with an 11-year-old when he was 16. I don't want to go into the legitimacy of whether or not this is true or not, right? Because it seems pretty clear that it's obvious. But what I want to mention here, and what my main argument of my video here boils down to, is why is this the last thing? Mr. Beast having like a sex offender working with him, that's serious. That's something where I feel like everybody would agree on, like that's questionable, and you would really want to hear Mr. Beast's side. Why does this come after some fucking grown man crying about like a challenge he failed? Like, why are you even having these content cop like skits in the video about something as serious as this? That's insane. And this feeds into like my whole problem with the DogPack videos. Like, there's some serious points in there that should be addressed, but the way he goes about it and the way he's trying to tie everything together just ruins the actual stuff that's important by over dramatizing and putting in shit that doesn't matter. Like fucking Mr. Beast is not a war criminal. What are you talking about? Why is this not the thing that you are focusing the video on? It's just completely nuts. And I don't know if DogPack knows what he's doing and he's like being deliberately bad faith, or he genuinely doesn't see how bad this is because he's just in too deep into the research. But that's nuts. I obviously think it's important to wait for like a Mr. Beast response, but I totally condemn the idea of hiring a sex offender if you work in a company that hires kids, you know, even if it was 20 years ago. I'm against that, and I think everybody will agree with me. But the way this is treated just feels wrong. It feels honestly like histrionic. Like this is so like attention seeking about stuff that doesn't matter, and then going like, oh, you know, I know all this shit is completely irrelevant, but you know, also there was like a sex offender working, whatever. Like what? This is irresponsible, and I really hope that the conduct on these videos improve, because I know there's gonna be future parts and I will be here to give my take, but I don't like this, and especially using all this language implying that Mr. Beast is like some sort of predator. Because with all the things he's established, with all the terms he's used to describe Mr. Beast's behavior, it almost seems as if he's implying that Mr. Beast like wanted to have a predator working for him, when I do believe there is probably a more reasonable explanation, because this also completely contradicts the narrative that Mr. Beast is like this cold businessman, because obviously that's like a thing like every sociopath YouTuber would probably want to address first, like having like a sex offender working for them. So I need to see more evidence. It looks bad, but again, there are always two sides to something like this. Anyways, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.